It's this meeting where the board reorganizes, the first meeting after the school district meeting. So I take nominations for chair of the board for the 18-19 school year.
I'll nominate Mike Bullock.
There's a nomination and a second for Mike Bullock. Any other nominations? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They're all set. It's all yours, Mr. Chairman.
I will take nominations for vice chairman. Don't all do all at once.
I'll nominate Frank Valenti.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
Opposed? Frank?
Thank you. Thank you both.
Okay, we're all set. I would like to welcome our new board member, Amy Lee.
Welcome.
Welcome, Amy.
Amy,
Yes.
you want to introduce yourself?
Oh,
to the crowd?
sure. I was like, what do you mean? Yeah. My name is Amy Lee. I have a daughter, Harper, that is in second grade. And then in the fall, my son will come into kindergarten. So I'll have 2 kids in elementary school. So I'm excited to be involved in the school board and see if I can make a difference and help the students. So thank you for having me.
Glad you're here. Thank you.
Great, so agenda review disposition. Anything else to add to tonight's agenda?
All set. Just need a plural on resignation to resignations.
The minutes of March 5th, 2018, I'll entertain a motion to approve as stated.
And
All in favor?
aye.
Privilege of the floor. Anybody care to speak this evening? No. Thank you. Principal's report. Julie?
Many of them are here to celebrate.
We're here to celebrate.
I've invited our PACE leadership team here to recognize them, and I wanted to just explain a little bit about the work that they've done, but first I'd like to introduce them. We have representing the primary wing, Sarah Carlson. Representing the middle school wing, we have Jennifer Weatherby, we have Lori Cleary, and Nancy Stock. That's where a lot of the work is happening. And then we have Jennifer Dale in the back, who is in 3rd grade and brings they all bring a wealth and a depth of knowledge to our school. PACE has really helped us in getting around the mindset of competency education, engaged learners in problem solving, authentic audiences, student choice and voice, teacher leadership and professional judgment. Just last week, we had Woodsville Elementary School. Their 3 first grade teachers spent the day here with Sarah Carlson and did some observation, but really spent time with our teachers learning more about the performance assessment process that we do here. There's a lot of leadership behind the scenes. The team meets every Thursday after school. Teachers have access to their support. But what really happens is during the day, Mrs. Stock will walk down to a teacher and help him or her out. Mrs. Dale will walk across the hall and help a team out in understanding the performance assessment or to help with student work. So a lot of mentoring goes on with this team. This year we're a Tier 1 school, and that means that we have a lot of work to do. We had to do assessment maps for different grade levels. We had to collect a body of student work. We had to implement the performance tasks, which are actually, I think, from a student perspective, really, really engaging and fun. And then we also have to do a lot of scoring of those assessments. And this team has made all of these components happen very smoothly, and it doesn't happen that way in other schools. So I really felt I wanted to take the time to recognize their work. It is a lot of work, and it's gone really well, and it's all about students, student engagement, students showing what they know in authentic, kind of not the worksheet model. So we're really excited about that. So I also included the brochure that we put together for PACE for Plymouth Elementary School. It's specifically for that. The work habits are a big part of the PACE process, or the performance assessment process. There are some resources and an example, a partial example on erosion. And I just wanted to point out the menu of assessments, that PACE is just one piece. We do a number of different assessments for students to achieve grade level benchmark, to just dipstick and make sure our students are on track for different assessments. There's an explanation for PACE, and at the bottom of that flap, it explains that as a PACE school, we still have to follow the federal law and have local assessments, but we also have to comply with the state assessment system. That will be in 3rd grade in English Language Arts, in 4th grade in math, and then in 8th grade across the board. Otherwise, we are doing performance assessments that are designed by teachers throughout New Hampshire and beyond. So it's really a neat system, and we're really excited and honored to be part of it. And a lot of it is about good professional development. So these guys are involved down in Concord. They go down and work on task development and work with other colleagues from around the state, and I think that's pretty fulfilling. So, you guys have anything that you want to share? I told them they did not have to say anything, but they could answer questions, so they're just here to be celebrated.
As Julie said, this is unique to Plymouth Elementary School. It is a lot of work. It does need teacher support and buy-in, and it's the only school in SAU 48 that's participating in this program, and they've done a terrific job. Thank you. I can't force schools or teachers to do this. People really have to look at this program and say, I think it's good for kids, and I want to be a part of this. And these folks have stepped up, and so we really appreciate their efforts. It's what makes Plymouth a unique school.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You could hear the cheers of the grand finale downtown last Wednesday night as our Lady Pirates of the Caribbean really brought down the house. From the choreography of sword fights to the powerful singing of the cast, all who attended the play the last 2 nights left saying it was one of the best plays that they had seen, period. Thank you to the amazing directing team led by Ellen Hand, Jen Dale, Ann Doyle, and Jake Stevens. They worked deep into the nights and all through the weekends to make sure students had what they needed to be successful. The sound system was particularly great this year, and wanted to thank Jeff Lines for his expertise. The students did a terrific job, but I did want to point out 3, the main leads, for they truly left their hearts on the stage while maintaining schoolwork and friendships. Hannah LeClaire, Nate Warren, and Abigail Park. They represented Plymouth Elementary School. They represented our work habits. They represented our 4 Bs. I was just really impressed with how they managed the whole process, because it's not easy. Not more than one person stopped me and said, thank you. They were so grateful that our community supports something like our middle school play, so thank you for that. On March 15th, a team of 12 students from grades 3 through 5 made the excursion to the White Mountains Community College in Berlin to compete in their very first LEGO Mindstorm Robotics Hydrodynamics competition. The students were excited to witness a competition in action, see the other team's bots, and try their own out on the competition mat. The students got a taste of success on 3 different missions. The team accidentally earned points by completing a mission that they had not originally planned on. The engineering design process of constantly testing their solution, collaborating to make changes, and testing again is one that students have grown tremendously over the past few months of the Robotics after-school program. We are very excited to extend robotics into April, giving students the chance to continue their designs and codes. And again, thank you for that opportunity. So that's grades 3 through 5. Next, we have the middle schoolers who are in Technology Student Association. They had over 240 students compete at this year's TSA conference. Mrs. Panis, our advisor, requires that PES students, she holds them to a high bar, compete in at least 5 events to participate in the state conference, which is a lot of work. So they can't just go up there and do one event. They have to really get involved. So if I can just indulge me, I'd like to read the list of names and the places of how the kids did. First, in technical design, first place, Ethan Gerard and Nolan Prince. Second place, Susanna Vong. And third place, Ainsley Gerard and Leah Bisson. In robotics, first place, Xander Tyrell, Maddox Elaine, and Robbie Phipps. Third place, Ethan Gerard, Nolan Prince, and Matt Tallman. Mechanical design, which is the Rube Goldberg machine. Second place, Ethan Gerard, Nolan Prince, Susanna Vong, Matt Tallman, Xander Tyrell, and Maddox Elaine. Leadership strategies, which I think is a really neat event. Second place, Leah Bisson and Ainsley Gerard. Coding, third place, Xander Tyrell and Maddox Elaine. And the last one is called Teams, Test of Engineering Aptitude, Math and Science. Second place, Susanna Vong, Ethan Gerard, Matt Tolman, James, and Robbie Phipps. And this is a 3-part competition where the team writes a researched and sourced essay on the topic and completes a written computational test to the topic, then builds an on-site challenge. So really cool activity, cool thing that our kids are involved in all through the year.
Julie Panis was kind enough to send a picture of the Plymouth Elementary kids, the Campton Elementary kids, and the high school kids. And many Plymouth kids are on the high school team. So the 3 groups were together at this conference up in Lincoln, and it was a great picture and a great turnout on behalf of SA
Lots of
48.
trophies.
Yeah.
We just line them up.
So, not only are they very active here, they're very active next door. I think Troy Tedeschi, I think, is one of the leaders next door of
Her Diane Lee was
TSA.
there, yeah, really. So we're very proud and very grateful for Julie Panis for leading that charge. So we've had some fun field trips. The front page of the Record Enterprise was the team grade 1 went to the Mumfords across the street on Highland Street. They participated in the New Hampshire classic pastime of collecting sap to boil and go through the whole scientific process of making maple sugar syrup. As always, the Mumfords opened their sugar shack and provided students with a real, authentic experience. Thank you to Mrs. McLeod and the first grade teachers for organizing this wonderful community experience, and a special thank you to the Mumfords for opening that up. Third graders visited the beautiful Squam Lake Science Center this month and had a very cool experience of banding and releasing birds, the juncos and woodpeckers. So it's pretty cool day. On Thursday, March 15th, the third graders again walked to the Silver Hall for the Arts at PSU to perform in Link Up. It's a concert. It gives students a chance to hear and perform a symphony orchestra. These students learn songs ahead of time in Mr. Stevens' music class and then perform them along with the symphony orchestra. They were songs they sang, there were songs that they learned to dance to, and they also played their recorders, which was very exciting. On March 21st, SAU 48 had a Walkabout Wednesday, a wonderful community celebration of the arts. We were not able to do our annual cultural arts that we have at the high school because of the construction for the career Technical Education Center. So,
And I would offer that the feedback from downtown is, would you please do it again next year? So that will be a discussion for primarily the teachers to see if they want to stay in that format or go back to the old. I'm open to anything that everybody wants to do. So that will be a conversation. It'll probably go on late in the summer before we make a decision.
So it was great. The musical ensembles were held at Silver Cultural Hall. In Plymouth had a great jazz band ensemble. It was all schools were represented. And then at different buildings, at the Pease Public Library, at the Museum of the White Mountains, at D&M, at the Enterprise, which I had never been in that building. So it was really cool that the art was all through the community and walked around. And it was luckily a beautiful spring day, so it was comfortable to be outside and to walk around. So congratulations to Jake Stevens and to Alexis Einen for their joyful leadership and commitment to showcasing our students' amazing talents. And wanted to give a shout out to Waterville Valley Principal Gail Adams for coordinating the event. So it was great. So last month I mentioned 2 teacher recipients of Donors Choose. We had another recipient this month, Mrs. Babbitt, our case manager for our middle school program, received funding for Donors Choose for her project called Soaring to Success. 4 mini pads, iPads were funded. The students who access support through audiobooks, verbal spelling, assessments, and our school-wide math program can do so with applications downloaded for their specific learning need. Practicing their reading fluency and math facts in a quick and easy manner is going to save us time and give the kids instant feedback on the skills that they are learning. And we also had some funding for our greenhouse. Mrs. Weatherby, the New Hampshire Electric Co-op has awarded Jen and the Greenhouse Project a challenge grant. They have $5,000 for the project toward the heating system in the greenhouse if we can raise another $5,000. So we are very excited. The offer is good for 1 year, and Mrs. Weatherby and Mrs. Sanborn, as well as Dr. Gatis, our assistant superintendent, is looking for other grants and other fundraising opportunities. And we have a few upcoming events that we're excited about. This Thursday, we have our One Book, One Community around the book Fish in a Tree. And we're excited. It's kind of an open community event. We'll have a number of activities and basically a book discussion. So that'll be fun. And then Friday, we have Chris Poulis, a bicyclist stuntman and a motivational speaker, and he's coming to reinforce our 4 Bs, our be safe, be respectful, be responsible, be your best you. We have a middle school dance on the 13th, SAU-wide, and April 20th, we have an Earth Day celebration. So we have a lot going on in April we're excited about.
Thank you.
Speaking of really cool things, spring sports started. It's a little cool out there. Yeah, Mr. Underwood had let me know that our track and field athletes, they began practice yesterday, and then softball and baseball started up today. The numbers are pretty healthy with over 50 students participating in track and field right now, 19 at baseball and 15 on the softball team currently. Obviously, with our weather and our conditions out there right now, April is generally a month of practices for the teams. However, the track and field team does have their first meet at Guilford on Monday, April 9th. So that's a quick start for them. And baseball and softball teams will open their season on May 2nd at Thornton. So good luck to all those teams this season. Hopefully we see the sun come out and get rid of the large piles of snow that are still out there. But on the safety route, just to update on Wednesday, March 21st, we had Police Chief Steve LaFave, Deputy Chief Alex Hutchins, and Sergeant Rod Diamond come in to our faculty meeting, and they offered to the PES faculty and staff the ADD training, which is the active shooter response training. Avoid, deny, defend is what the ADD stands for. And basically, they will take you through it's a very thorough, thoughtful presentation that they do, and where we were able to view video clips. They talk about a lot of the information. They gave demonstrations of actions, of responses that you can take, and they really fielded some great questions very nicely. Essentially, the officers stress the importance of just general awareness, situational awareness, no matter where you are, whether you're here in the school building or walking through the aisles of Walmart, knowing where your exit doors, windows are, noticing behaviors of others, and just being aware of what you see and hear. And then they just go through the steps, talking about the average response time for police is about 3 minutes. And so within those 3 minutes, the things that you do increase your chances of survival. And they talk about avoiding if you can, and if you can't, deny access to where you're located. And, the last resort, if you can't, if you're engaged, to defend yourself. And they take you through the steps of that. And again, demonstrations and things that you can do to help protect yourself and others. They also go through the scenario of once they do arrive and they are on scene, what are their next actions that they take, and some of the questions and commands that they may be giving to us as they enter. So our faculty really asked some great questions, some thoughtful and insightful questions. I think everyone was pretty appreciative of the training and the dedication that our police department really gives to all of our schools here. This is the second training of that for our staff. We did the last one back in November of 2016. So it was a nice refresher. Plus, we have some new faces within the faculty and staff that weren't here in 2016, so they appreciated getting that update as well. Myself and Chief LaFave will also be meeting with our PES PTA group actually this Wednesday on April 4th, and it's just going to be an overall general review of the safety measures that we do have in place here already at the school, answer any questions as best we can that people might have, and then Chief LaFave has also offered to present that same ADD training to that parent group on Wednesday, May 2nd, for anybody that would like to attend that. And then again, this Wednesday, our safety committee will be going to Plymouth State. We'll hold our meeting down there. Steve Temperino, who is the Director of Public Safety and Emergency Management for the college, will be joining us, and he's going to take us through the two potential buildings, the Hartman Union Building, or the Hub, and the new building, Merrill Place, as those would be two of our designated off-site evacuation locations if we had to use. So I think it's a great idea that our safety committee gets down there and gets on campus and within those buildings and can really take a look at those facilities and familiarize ourselves a little bit better and have those conversations with the Plymouth State folks too. It's a great connection there that we have. So, and that is it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions for Lee here? No? Thank you very much. Consent items, claims and payroll. We all signed off.
Going around. Yes.
Correspondence?
All set, Mr. Chairman.
Discussion items, nominations, faculty.
Right, after non-public session, we will we'll do the nominations. We may ask that they be kept sealed until folks are notified of their status, and then release the information after that to the public. And then also with resignations, co-curricular nominations we will do, and those will be public immediately, as along with the resignations.
Budget update?
Yes, let me hand out a brief revenue report for you, and I'll walk through it. Along with the spending portion of the budget, those are appropriations, we expect revenues to come in to help offset what we have to raise in property taxes. And we track these revenues on a monthly basis to make sure that our revenues are coming in and there are no surprises. If we don't hit our revenue targets, then we need to freeze spending in some area in order to make the budget balance. So right now, the revenues are in pretty good shape. The first one, unreserved fund balance, that's in-house. That was money that wasn't used last year. It was used to offset the tax rate that we have now, and that's obviously already here. Catastrophic aid, we expected a little over, almost $12,000. We got $13,300, so that's good. All of our adequacy is in. We expected $2.1 million. We got $2.1 million, a couple $1,000 more, so that's good. There is no building aid because we have no loans. National Forest Reserve, we're expecting $2,300. That comes in very late through the state from the federal government, and that's in lieu of property that the federal government may own in the town of Plymouth in lieu of taxes. That number has been shrinking, and at some point I'm sure that will be a zero. But for now, we'd like to get the $2,300. Medicaid, we expect $100,000. Currently, we've received over $65,000. Those collections continue on until somewhere into August. There's like a 2-month delay on us submitting data and the money coming back through. Preschool Assist, the IDA grant, we're expecting $200,000. We have received almost $159,000. We have some more billing to do on that. Special education tuition and the cost of aids, $74,000 is in-house already. We expect $150,000, and I have billed $141,600. So we're right around our revenue target there. The majority of that money is from other districts within the SAU, so I'll make sure you get the money. It's a matter of transfer in our office. This is the kind of way we like it. Regular ed tuition, $50,000 was expected. I billed $85,000. That is from Ellsworth and the students that come from Ellsworth. We have no more Warren students, and we do not have any private pays at the moment. Earning on investment, I don't know what that 13% is. We will square up with Jane, but we don't get any earnings on our investment. We don't have investments. All we have is money that from a payroll account and an accounts payable account. And the treasurer gets it from the town treasurer, who holds all the money, and we only ask for what we need immediately to pay the bills. The large investments, earnings are made on the selectmen's side of the house, and that's the way it should be. So once in a while we get $5 or $10 just from the float being there and somebody not cashing checks or however it goes. Miscellaneous, those can be odds and ends that we get, and they can be also payment for playing football or track. We got a track check today. And those are from kids who do not live in Plymouth but play on the Plymouth teams. Refund from prior year expenditures, that's some E-rate money that came in after the fact. And then reimbursement for speech, we're expecting $90,000. That will be billed to other districts. Those are folks that are on the Plymouth Elementary payroll who work in other districts, and that's in the area of special ed speech. So that's an internal transfer that I will be making with Dan and the bookkeepers. Special revenue fund, preschool money, $17,000. And then the Title II and Title I, we're in very good shape right now in our title grants. You can see Mrs. Gades has really done a good job collecting. Those are entitlement grants. Plus, we often go after money that's been reallocated. So oftentimes districts don't track their money, perhaps like we do, and they and grants are there, but they don't spend the money, and then the feds say, time's up, we're taking your money back. The state then says this money is available for other districts, and there's an application process, and we aggressively go after that. So that's what happens when you see more money than we expected, is we got reallocation money from, and we're chasing some right now, an awful lot of it, in fact, for summertime professional development and those sorts of things. Food service revenue, excuse me, That figure is cash that's going through the system. It's almost reported once in a while to us from, we get reports on a monthly basis from Cafe Services, but by the time it gets into our books, that's just merely money that's coming through the system, deposited, goes back out to Cafe Services for their charge. Our job is to make sure that you're not paying anything to support the food service. No taxpayer dollars are in that it's self-supporting down there. Except for, we have to provide the kitchen and the equipment, so we, at times, do make expenditures in there. It's just the upkeep of the facility. So that's where we are, all in all, for basically the end of the third quarter. We're tracking well on revenues. Appropriations, we think we have most of our expenditures encumbered, and right now, we're to the good a little over $100,000, and that is on a $7.9 million budget. So that's like having 13 cents in your pocket. You know, you never know what comes through the door, and so, but we've been in worse shape than that before. So, Michael, as you can remember some of those years. So we're in good shape on the appropriation side too. So at the third quarter poll, we're doing well. Thank you to Julie and Kelly for keeping an eye on that, and to Mary Ann Yetton, who's in Julie's office working with the books.
Any questions for Mark?
I do have one question, Mark.
Yeah.
The adequacy education grant.
Yes.
money, where it's listed tax rate basis, is that reflective of the decrease in the adequacy?
Yeah,
money that was-
the tax rate basis, that means those are the revenues that we set when we set the tax rate, when the selectmen finalized the tax rate. So all that means is I got to get $2,103,498, and we ended up $2,105,000. So, but that's what that means. We get a second chance at revenues. We have estimated revenues at the school district meeting, and then in September, the state will say to us, "You sure you want to use those numbers?" And then we sometimes make adjustments. That's when we get to add unreserved fund balance. If Ellsworth all of a sudden sends 3 more kids to us, then we say, yep, we're going to up the tuition number. So if you increase your revenues, that has a good effect on the tax rate. If you've overestimated your revenues, then you've got to scale it back, and that drives the tax rate up. So what we do at the school district meeting is we underestimate our revenues so that those numbers look better, are better, and we don't get ourselves in a position like you read about in Pembroke, where, you know, what's this, you know, and that's, so we don't ever want to be in that position.
Okay, good. Other business, any other business to discuss?
I don't have any, Mr. Chairman.
Privilege of...
Other than I will be meeting with the association, faculty association tomorrow to discuss the school calendar on the collective bargaining agreement. It allows for consultation. The school board's still in charge of the school calendar, but we try and work things out with the association in terms of last day of school. Currently, we've been out 9 days, so we're trying to work, and we'll try and get to an agreement on about that third week in June, one of those days, and then I will probably phone poll you to see if I have your permission to go ahead with that. All right? Hopefully this week is not, I mean, there's some squirrely weather reports about this week and timing. So Thursday looks, Friday looks like a mess.
Right now, and, you know...
Not worried about today or tomorrow, I'm worried about Friday. But that can all change.
Right. Privilege of the floor, too. Speak. What a lively crowd.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I will entertain a motion to go into non-public session.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you all.